Today, I'm going to be making brown butter bourbon cookies. This recipe is from Serious Eats, and so I will put the link below if you want to go there and print out the instructions just like I did. So to make these cookies, you need 8 tablespoons of butter, and I already have them in a pan because that's where it's going to need to be anyway. So you want a saucepan. You need half of an ice cube, which I don't have out right now, but there's a half an ice cube in our freezer. You need 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, a ½ teaspoon of baking soda, and a ½ teaspoon of salt, 3/4 cup of sugar. You need ½ a cup plus 1 tablespoon. It says dark brown sugar. I'm using just regular light brown sugar. It won't make any difference, trust me. You need 1 egg, a ½ teaspoon of vanilla, 5 tablespoons of bourbon. I like to show you what we're using. We're using the Evan Williams bourbon. And you need 1 cup of toasted and roughly chopped pecans. So I will put these in a pan, and you just literally you want to fry them in a frying pan for like 5 minutes. They won't take long at all.
No oil or anything, just the
nuts. But don't let them burn, because once they burn, you can't get that burnt taste out of them. So literally like 5 minutes, and then I'll pour them right back in the bowl. But the first thing we want to do is we want to melt our butter in the medium saucepan over medium-high heat. Cook gently, swirling the pan constantly. So you're going to take it like this, and you're going to swirl it constantly until the particles begin to turn golden brown and the butter smells nutty. This will take about 5 minutes. So our butter has turned a dark color, and it has a nutty smell to it. And you see how thick it got? It got really thick. So I want to get all of that. So I'm going to use a spatula and scrape all that. Okay, and then you want to get your ice and put it in here. And it says to whisk the ice in. That's like a science experiment. Mm-hmm. Who would have thought it would do that? It looks like Coke. Did you know that would happen?
Well, it's boiling it, so I guess.
So my ice is almost whisked in. And so what you want to do now is you want to put this in the refrigerator for 20 minutes. And you're going to whisk it occasionally. So I'm just going to leave my little whisk sitting in it like this. And then about probably, I don't know, every 5 minutes I'll go to the refrigerator and whisk it, and then we'll be back. So this is how the butter looks after 20 minutes. If you saw my mixer in the beginning of the video, we realized that we don't need the mixer after all, so we put that back up. I also realized that my pecans were already toasted, so that's why I thought they were a darker color, but I already bought the toasted pecans, so I didn't have to put them on the stove. But if you don't buy toasted pecans, then just know it won't take you 5 minutes to do it. It's really easy. So right now we're going to take our flour and our salt and our baking soda. And we're just going to put this in a bowl like this and just whisk it. If you don't have a whisk, just use a fork. It's not a big deal. And we're going to set this to the side. And then we're going to, in a big bowl, we're going to take both of our sugars and our egg, and we're going to whisk these together. Add our cooled melted butter and our vanilla. I cannot tell you how good that smells. Like, I mean, that smells like heaven in a bowl right there. It smells wonderful. Okay, so now you want to take your flour and your mixture here, your dry mixture, and we're gonna use a wooden spoon and we're gonna stir this in with a wooden spoon. Okay, so I mainly have the flour mixed in, so now you want to take your bourbon and we're gonna mix this in. So now you want to stir in your pecans. Okay, now we're gonna take this whole thing, and I have some plastic wrap here. And I hate plastic wrap. I really hate plastic wrap because it always wants to stick, but that's okay. Okay, so you want to take this whole mixture and put it in your plastic wrap and wrap it up. And we're gonna store this in the refrigerator for 24 hours. So these aren't quick cookies. So I'm gonna get everything I can and then I'll pour the rest on top. Yeah, and then I'll just pour my pecans on top so I won't waste any of them. And smash those into the top. Okay, and now I'm gonna wrap this up really good. If I didn't get enough plastic wrap, I'll get more, it's not a big deal. But then we will be back in 24 hours.
For us.
For us, not for you. I had my dough, took it out of the refrigerator. It was in there overnight, and it was so funny because I had it in the refrigerator like this, and I opened the door and I looked in there, and I for a second there, my brain said, "You've laid out hamburger, and it's gotten really old in there. It's turned brown." And then it's like, oh, that's that cookie dough.
It did look like hamburger.
Yeah, it looked like old or like turkey that had changed color, ground turkey or something. So it was just funny. So I don't know how hard this is going to be to deal with. I'm wondering, should I put it back in a bowl so that I can?
I don't know. You can kind of scoop.
Okay, we'll see. I have a cookie scoop. This is a small cookie scoop. And so,
well, I'll tell you the directions.
Okay.
We want to adjust our oven racks in your oven. You want to put one of the racks on the top and one in the lower middle position, not at the lowest, but upper middle. And you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Line 2 baking sheets with parchment paper, which we have. You're going to drop dough by the rounded tablespoons onto the prepared cookie sheets. You're going to bake in the oven, but you're going to rotate the trays halfway through. So they're going to take 15 to 18 minutes. We will probably go for 16 minutes. So if you take half the 16 minutes, it's going to be 8 minutes. And then we'll take the tray, the bottom tray will go to the top and the top tray will go to the bottom. And then basically you're supposed to have where they're golden brown on the top, but still soft to the touch, or golden brown on the bottom, but soft to the touch.
So you can see the trouble with putting it in the refrigerator. Is it
really stiff? It's
really stiff, yeah. So it's honestly been easier for me to break it off with my hands.
It's good, and you're getting pretty consistent sizes, honestly. I'm quite surprised.
Yeah, me too.
They haven't gotten bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, me too, yeah. But I'm trying to just break off small chunks of it. But just know that it will get easier to deal with because as it's out of the refrigerator, you know, it'll get easier to manage. But right now it's a little bit firm.
Well, you're supposed to get 36 cookies.
Yeah, so you're getting a lot out of this little piece, little bit of dough. So now I'm going to put both of these in the oven at the same time. Put one on the top rack, one on the bottom rack. At 8 minutes, we're going to switch them from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top, and then we're going to go an additional 8 minutes, and then we'll be back. So this is my first set of cookies in the oven, and I left them in. They were on 8 minutes and then 7 minutes. And I took them out after the 7 minutes because they're starting to get a little brown and I don't want them to get hard. So I'm going to take some of these off of here because they're pretty firm. And I'm going to put them on the cooling rack, and then I'm going to load. I have kept my dough in the refrigerator. I put it back in the refrigerator while these were in the oven. So I'm going to take that back out of the refrigerator and reload my trays, and we'll see how many we get at the end. Okay, I ended up, you were supposed to get 36 cookies. Everybody should be impressed that watches this channel because I got 38.
And did them by hand.
Yeah, and I did them by hand, and I never get too many. I always make them huge. Yeah, I make them huge. But now I'll tell you, these are smaller cookies. I mean,
they're almost a very little wedding cookie.
Yeah, they're smaller cookies. So it says cookies will continue to harden and set as they cool. So these have been cool. They've probably been sitting for, I don't know, 20 minutes or 30 minutes, something like that.
That's a lot of cookie and half a bite. Mm-hmm. They're really crunchy on the bottom.
They are. They're crunchy cookies. And I've had people tell me they prefer crunchy cookies. So these would be what you would go for. They're also very dense.
They're kind of dry. Mm-hmm. I don't get any bourbon.
Oh, I do. It's very, very light.
Mm.
I didn't get it until I swallowed. These, for me, they're decent, but they could benefit from a glaze.
Yeah, they need sweetness a lot.
Yes. So
these were the brown butter ones, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I get a little bit of that brown butter flavor. I do like it. But my problem is they're not very sweet. Mm-mm. The bourbon's not very strong. And they're kind of dense. Kind of dense and dry.
Calling my cookies dense.
They are dense. They're very dense and dry. I like them. I like them.
Try a bigger one. Well, let's see what they look like. This is a bigger one. And this is still kind of warm.
It's just I don't know. They're just a drier cookie that doesn't have a lot of sweetness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're not bad. It's not like they're bad, but I don't know.
Well,
I don't know that I would make them again.
I probably wouldn't.
No, because when I make
3/4 cup of sugar and then a half cup of dark sugar, brown sugar.
It's just not the kind of cookie that I want to make all the time. When I make cookies, I want something ultra sweet. Kevin does too. Mm-hmm. Typically, we like an ooey gooey cookie, and we've done a lot of stuffed cookie recipes on the channel. I love stuffed cookies.
Mm-hmm. They're so easy to make.
And real stuffed cookies.
They're easier to make than these.
Not just like we're just going to call them stuffed cookies, but real, genuine stuffed cookies. They're huge and they're delicious and ooey gooey and very, very sweet. This just it lacks a lot of sweetness. So it's not that it's a bad recipe. The bourbon is a lighter bourbon, but I think the reason I like the Evan Williams bourbon is because I do think it is a sweeter bourbon, and I think it's smoother, and it's less like that woodsy, that
really harsh kind of flavor.
Yeah, that you get in
the woody kind of like the oak barrel
because
kind of flavor.
Maker's Mark is a much stronger bourbon than the Evan Williams. It has like a harshness to it when you swallow. The Evan Williams is sweeter. So I do really like the bourbon, and I do slightly get it in these cookies. It's just the cookie itself. Truly, I think a glaze would make all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
If you took some powdered confectioner sugar and a little bit of milk and mixed it together and put a glaze over these, I think it would take them from a 3 up to at least a 4, you know?
4 or 5 maybe.
Yeah.
The sweetness would help. These kind of remind you of some kind of, it also reminds me of some kind of cookie you'd buy in a tin at
like
Christmas
a pecan
time.
sandy?
It kind of, but these aren't even as sweet as a pecan sandy is. But you know, you buy the tins of cookies that you give out to people, and they're usually not the most expensive cookies in the world, and they're okay, but they're not the greatest. This is kind of like
that's what this recipe is.
Yeah.
It's okay, but not the greatest.
Yeah.
So,
and plus the trouble of making the brown butter and stuff.
And having to wait 24 hours.
Yeah, there's so many other cookies that are like 1,000 times better that are quick.
And I get why you did that. You did that because, and I'm glad I thought of this. It keeps the shape. So, know this, if you do want a less sweet cookie and a crisper cookie, and I know some of you do, you might want to make this recipe. You
can probably leave the bourbon out, honestly, and replace it with something else, the liquids or other liquid.
You can put these on the cookie sheet. You can put a lot of them on the cookie sheet right next to each other, because them having you put it in the refrigerator for 24 hours, it makes it to where they don't spread. So they will stay exactly where you put them, and they're not going to spread. So you can make pretty much all your cookies at once. I did not know that, so I did mine in 2 batches, but you could do it all at once. So, you know, this video, hopefully it'll help somebody that needs something less sweet, crisper. It's just not one that I personally would choose to make again.
Exactly.
So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.